Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Putt.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back from the weekend. Welcome to First Contact Radio. Hope you're doing well today. It is the 12th of December on the Gregorian calendar, 2016. Our sun sign today, as it was when we left last week, is in Sagittarius. Our moon sign has made a couple transitions and is now in Gemini. It moved there at 6:41 a.m. So we have a sun in Sagittarius, a moon in Gemini. Okay, let's take a look at what these are. Tarot card, we are already familiar with this one here. This is Sagittarius, the higher self, the angelic part of ourself that we tap into when we connect in with ourselves, our higher aspect of ourselves. And this here, that represents Sagittarius, and this here representing Gemini, the lovers, is all about choices, relationships we have with the choices we make. It's about using our sense of discernment to discern one path or one choice or decision from the other. The whole idea, the subconscious mind should be looking to the higher self, and the conscious mind should be looking to the subconscious self. And if we're moving and working in that aspect, then we're in an aspect where we're able to make proper decisions. If our decision-making facility isn't situated in that way, then our decisions get kind of all wacky because we're not deferring to anything outside of ourselves. So we need to be able to defer to the subconscious. We need to be able to defer to the higher self and not just get stuck here in the physical realms. Some of the aspects we're looking at over the course of this day. Coming up 11 a.m., we've got Chiron, the healing aspect of ourselves, the wounded aspect of ourselves that needs to be healed. It's going to be jumping into the mix. 4:22 p.m., our imagination is going to be in a nice, good trine with our ability to communicate with Gemini, our relationships. And then this evening, Neptune tells us we need to take a deep another perspective at things in regards to the way that we communicate, regards to the choices that we do make. It's a square with Gemini. So unconsciously, we got an air sign that is moving along, imagination, new perspectives. Conscious mind, we have a fire sign, which is all about ideas. So we're expressing ideas today between the fire and the air. Fire and the air. The moon, it's going to be up to a full moon tomorrow. 4:05 p.m. will be the exact time that we hit that full moon. Right now we're in the last little phase, 97.1% of the way there. Now in the Jewish calendar, year 5777, today also is a 12th day of Kislev. And finally, solar weather, 494.4 kilometers per second. Planetary K index, quiet at the moment, probably get up to a 3 over the next 24 hours. The hole in the sun has smoothed over, so now we just have this little gash on the bottom, a little bit of something up at the top, but the big hole right in the middle has smoothed over. M-class flare possibility, just like X-class, both at 1%. Geomagnetic storm activity mid-latitudes is dropping from 10 down to 5%. High latitudes is staying stable at 15%. And there you have it. That is our cosmic weather today. The energy that we're dealing with, so we have fire, conscious mind. We're going to have that for another week or so. So fire is ideas. We have a lot of ideas going through. But the higher self wants us to reach into higher set of ideals, higher set of ideas. And the subconscious mind air has us moving unconsciously, moving to make better choices by the way in which we process the way we make choices. So instead of just looking at the physical world and making our choices about the physical world based only on the physical world, we learn to defer to something beyond it that allows us to have a better perspective of the physical realms that we're dealing with. Okay, so there you go. That is our cosmic weather for today. UFO news is up next. Here we go.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today, 4 stories. Story number 1 comes to us from our favorite volcano in Mexico, Popocatepetl. This one was a sighting that came in at the end of last month, the 23rd of November. And we see our image in question over the volcano. The volcanoes in Mexico were named by the ancient Mayans after their gods, probably because they encountered the aliens and witnessed them flying in or out of the mouth of the volcanoes. This is an active volcano with eruptions every other day on live cam. No aircraft would ever get permission to fly low over the mouth of the volcano. The risk would just be too great. This UFO flew either over to either pick up or drop off others. To do that, they don't need to land. Okay, and here we have, let me click on the link here, 2-minute 52-second video. This is Volcanic Watch's report aerial phenomena that pass close to the volcanoes Popocatepetl and Ichachuatal, and our high definition equipment detects. Alright, so there you go. Let me jump ahead here. There we go. Okay, here's our object in question. I got another one coming in. Okay, pretty cool. And it looks like it's going to go right down into the volcano, doesn't it? Well, let's see where it goes. It's over it, and it is continuing to fly by. Alright, there you go. Popocatepetl and the UFO. Next we have a sighting. This takes us to the beginning of the month, December 6th in El Sauce, Leon, Nicaragua. This is a whole UFO fleet that was seen. Here's a report from a fellow UFO researcher in Argentina. They reported UFOs over Nicaragua a few days ago. And since El Sauce is an agricultural city basing most of their income on growing crops and animals, it is possible that aliens are examining the DNA and other aspects of the vegetables, fruit, and livestock they have there. Okay. It said Nicaragua. More UFOs in El Sauce. Residents of El Sauce, Leon, reported on social media claiming to have been stunned after seeing a strange light in the sky last night, December 6th. Several Facebook users claimed seeing a bright light crossing the sky very slowly from east to west, and it vanished suddenly after being detected. It is worth mentioning that many people had the chance to see this UFO as it cruised across the sky for approximately 20 minutes. Onlookers also noted that the unidentified flying object was constantly changing colors from silver to red. One of these photographs of the El Sauce object was taken by Hugo Sanchez. Miss Frances Reyes, a resident of the municipality, said, "First, the phenomena looked like the multiple colored lights, and it traveled at a higher speed." Her version of the event dovetails with statements made by others who were astonished by the bright light in the sky. It should be noted that this is not the first time such a sighting has been reported by residents of El Sauce, who have no qualms about making such phenomena. Okay, our next sighting takes us to Las Vegas, the 9th of December. We have an entire fleet here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 perhaps. This is 1, 13, so good group of them there. It says here's interesting footage of multiple objects flying across the sky of Las Vegas, Nevada. Filmed the 9th of December. Witness said last night I was walking a local park in Las Vegas when I saw 15 to 20 solid balls of yellow and orange rising from the ground up to the clouds and then disappearing. They were probably 15, 20 miles away, so they weren't paper lanterns, or as some have speculated, they weren't conventional aircraft, as they were solid balls of light with no anti-collision lightning. All right, very interesting. Cool sighting. And one last sighting. This here is watch UFOs flying in tandem over Liverpool. Liverpool residents were stunned after seeing a pair of UFOs hovering above their skies. A mobile phone video shows the mysterious craft traveling parallel to one another, captured Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. in Halewood. There's no explanation yet to date as to what has been recorded on the video by the Enchanted Life TV Path Alternative News and Media. The videographer said that he saw the objects while looking out the window. He first thought it was a balloon, but then he saw another next to it. Then it appeared to him that they were flying in tandem. He then jumped out of the window with his camera to get the footage. Video experts who investigated the footage could not determine the two UFOs. Initially, they thought they were drones, but changed their mind. One YouTuber commented that they were not drones, but two UFOs caught on video. Liverpool became a UFO hotspot after it was reported recently that there are more supernatural sighting police reports in Merseyside than any other areas in the UK. Alright, there's our object in question. I'll leave the video link available so you can check it out. And that is our UFO news today. Stay tuned, and I will be back.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of governments. Government should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets. So wake up, 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 wake up. Evidences on the best. Illuminati, let's keep growing. But they were losing from your eyes. And wake up, 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 wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, 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 wake up. What if I land and two if I see, and I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, 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 wake up. Patriots arise! It's time to demand the truth.
Alright, let's get back to things here. So lots happened over the course of this weekend. I'm going to encourage you first and foremost to go check out my Facebook page, First Contact Radio, or go check out my Twitter feed, First Contact now. If you're not a member of either one, please join, because I do a pretty consistent job of continuing to put up new stories over the course of the weekend. So as you know, the big story that's going on right now is the story of fake news. Fake news. The media, the ones who are proficient at providing fake news, well, now they are going on the offensive, and they're accusing others who aren't doing fake news of doing fake news. So the ones who are the fakers are accusing the ones who are telling the truth of being the fakers, while they themselves are lying to the American people. So it's quite disgusting and despicable what's going on. I hope people are truly paying attention to this. Here's an article that gets into very interesting analysis. It says Hillary loved fake news until she lost. Hillary Clinton believed and bathed in all the fake news that CNN and other liberal news outlets churned out 24/7 in anticipation of her inevitable victory. That's why it was so hard for the old girl to face her supporters on election night and admit defeat. Why? Because she was utterly stunned by her loss. So it would seem rather odd that Hillary's now whining about fake news and blaming it for her colossal humiliation. The epidemic of malicious fake news and false propaganda that flooded social media over the past year, well, it's now clear the so-called fake news can have real-world consequences, Hillary insisted in a speech at a ceremony for retiring Senator Harry Reid. Why, yes, to spread out fake news does have consequences, as do the perpetrators and the propagandists of said fake news, like CNN, the Washington Post, and New York Times. Hillary ate up this fake news back when they all predicted that she'd clean Donald Trump's electoral clock. She smiled like a Cheshire cat that got the candy, devouring the avalanche of biased headlines. The more fake news, the better, she purred as she readied herself for the Oval Office. Now, in her dejected state, Hillary is demanding that the news be reported objectively and that Congress do something about fake news. Does Hillary, the tolerant liberal, want Congress to regulate or ban free speech? How very Russian of her. This isn't about politics or partisanship. Lives are at risk. Lives of ordinary people just trying to go about their days, to do their jobs, to contribute to their communities. It's a danger that must be addressed, and addressed publicly, demanded the deluded Democrat. Hillary Clinton was trying to conflate her loss with a recent incident where a mad gunman stormed Comet Pizza in Washington, D.C., inspired by a fake news story that alleged Hillary and some of her campaign cronies were operating a child sex slave business in a tunnel under a restaurant. He drove 6 hours from North Carolina, intending to met out some of the twisted vigilante justice. No one was hurt, but nothing is putting lives at risk as much as the epidemic of fake news coming from news outlets like CNN, which incites race wars by calling Trump and his supporters racist, nativist, and xenophobic. CNN never met the shooting of an unarmed black man by a white, most of the time, police officer that it didn't like and exploit it in order to get its ratings. Okay, so there we have Hillary. Good old Hillary. Remember Hillary? She said that anybody who disputes the results of the election and doesn't accept them is a, what did she use the word? A disaster, a danger to democracy. So if we were to follow Hillary's own words, she herself is a danger to democracy. And by following that same logic, everyone that is on the liberal agenda to do this is a danger to democracy. Those are by Hillary's own words, but we're supposed to believe that the old lying woman is telling us the truth this time. She is so full of nonsense that it is just incredible. And how there are people that are still looking at this and supporting her, beyond me. This woman's evil. She's got a dark heart. And if you are out there after this point in time and you're seeing all this and you're still supporting her, then you know what? You've got a problem. You need to take a good look in the mirror and wonder why your heart is so dark that you would follow somebody that lies, cheats, steals, murders, and then lies about all of those things. It's just really despicable. You know, over at MSNBC last week, Mika was doing a report, and she said something apparently that she shouldn't have said, and the next day that she reported on the air that she got the network got a call from the Clinton campaign, and she was to be fired. They didn't fire her, but Mika was so surprised because she is one of Hillary's ardent supporters. See the loyalty that's there? There is no loyalty. Hillary's loyalty is to herself. Okay? To herself, to the money she gained. She has no loyalty for the American people. She doesn't care about you. You can go out and you can do her bidding all you want, and at the end of the day, if Hillary decides that you're expendable, bye-bye. Ain't going to be nothing left for you, because Hillary will have had her way, and that will be the end of that. All right? So let's jump over here. Let's take another story, because now the big news that you're hearing is all about the Russian hackers. The Russians did it. That's what we keep hearing. The Russians did it. First of all, to the mainstream media outlet, how irresponsible of you to continue to blame a country when you have absolutely no proof. Don't you understand that that kind of fake news reporting could cause an international incident, yet you dare point your finger? Dare point your finger at somebody else? You, mainstream media, are to blame. You are the despicable ones in this. You need to go home and hug your children and hug your spouses and apologize to them for not looking out for them. And you need to decide that you're going to either help your family and your spouses and your kids by telling the truth, or you might as well just kiss them goodbye and tell them that you're betraying them. Because that's what you do every time you go on and you lie. You make it tougher for your family to live in this world. And if that's the way you treat your family, then you obviously are a cold-hearted person, which it certainly seems in the mainstream media. We have a lot of that. Now, there's a few that are out there that are doing their part, and it's few and far between, but we do see them out there. There's the Hannitys, Tucker, we have Judge Janine, we have Judge Napolitano. These are some of those that are out there with the Fox News station. The other stations, I don't know so much. Every now and then you hear Joe Scarborough saying something that seems to be a little more honest. We'll see what Mika does now that she has been called to on the carpet by the Clintons, whether she's going to be so much, with her head up Hillary's ass, or whether she's actually pulled it out at this point in time. My guess is she's probably lodged it in a little bit deeper, because it just makes no sense otherwise for her to do anything else, because, well, she's just a puppet. That's all that they are. Now, they're screaming, the Russians did it, the Russians did it, but guess what? There's zero proof that the Russians did it. You see, the FBI has come out and they have said there is no proof. The CIA has not made a formal announcement. All we have is an anonymous source from the CIA, who we're not going to tell you who they are, had a meeting in secret, and they determined, okay, whatever. Whatever with your anonymous source. You don't have an anonymous source. They're lying, because the FBI has come out and said that they are lying. The FBI has come out and said that there was no hacking. As a matter of fact, Obama said there wasn't any hacking. It was impossible to hack our elections, that they weren't rigged. Hillary's camp, the DNC, came out and said there was no hacking. All of this was said before it was determined that Hillary had lost. Now that Hillary lost, suddenly they're changing their tune. It's called hypocritical behavior. They're hypocrites. So here's the story. UK diplomat, and this is one of many, says, I've met the DNC Wikileaks leaker, and the person is an insider, not a Russian. In early November, Wikileaks founder Julian Assange told reporter John Pillinger in an exclusive interview that it wasn't Russia who hacked into the DNC and Clinton staff emails. Via craigmurray.org, he said the little simple logic demolishes the CIA's claims. The CIA claimed they know the individuals involved, yet under Obama, the USA has been absolutely ruthless in its persecution of whistleblowers and its pursuit of foreign hackers through extradition. We are supposed to believe that this is the most vital instance imaginable, an attempt by a foreign power to destabilize a U.S. election. Even though the CIA knows who the individuals are, nobody is going to be arrested or extradited, or, if in Russia, made subject to yet more banking and other restrictions against Russian individuals. Plainly, it stinks. The anonymous source claims of, we know who it was the Russians, are beneath contempt. As Julian Assange made it crystal clear, the leaks did not come from Russia. As I have explained countless times, they are not hacks, they are insider leaks. There's a major difference between the two, and it should be said again that if Hillary Clinton had not convened with the DNC to fix the primary schedule to disadvantage Bernie, if she had not received advance notice of live debate questions to use against Bernie, if she had not accepted massive donations to the Clinton Foundation and family members in return for foreign policy influence, if she had not failed to distance herself from some of the very weird and troubling people, then none of this would have happened. The continued ability of the mainstream media to claim the leaks lost Clinton the election because of Russia, while still never acknowledging the truth the leaks reveal, is Kafkaesque. I had to call from a Guardian journalist this afternoon. The astonishing result was that for 3 hours an article was accessed through the Guardian front page, which actually included the truth among the CIA hype. The Kremlin has rejected the hacking accusations, while the Wikileaks founder Julian Assange has previously said the DNC leaks were not linked to Russia. A second senior official cited by the Washington Post conceded that the intelligence agencies did not have specific proof that the Kremlin was directing the hackers, who were said to be one step removed from the Russian government. Craig Murray, the former UK ambassador to Uzbekistan, who is a close associate of Assange, called the CIA claims bullshit, adding they are absolutely making it up. I know who leaked them, Murray said. I've met the person who leaked them, and they are certainly not Russian. It's an insider. It's a leak, and it's not a hack. The two are different things. If what the CIA is saying is true, and the CIA statement referred to people who are known to be linked to the Russian state, they would have arrested someone if it was someone inside the United States. America has not been shy about arresting whistleblowers, and it's not been shy about extraditing hackers. They plainly have no knowledge whatsoever. Okay? Now, if we think about it, they're claiming Trump got support from the Russians, but there's no proof of that. But let's see if we have proof of foreign involvement with Hillary. Well, let's see. We know that Hillary sold 20% of Americans' uranium rights to Russia, so there's a connection between her and Russia. And certainly John Podesta was part of that deal, so we've got him connected in with Russia. We have Obama going on national TV and telling the illegal aliens in the United States to go ahead and vote and nothing would happen. So here we had a president meddling in election by encouraging foreigners who are not citizens to vote in our process. Well, there's two examples right there. We can go on and on and on and find more examples. Fact of the matter is, they are scared because they are losing, and they're going to make up all kind of lies and nonsense to get people to try to side with them and feel sorry for them. Well, I don't feel any sympathy one bit for Hillary Clinton and her scandalous group, because that's all they are, a scandalous group. Now, you can find plenty more stories to that. Again, my Twitter feed, my Facebook page, you'll be able to go and read more on that, because there's a lot more where that came from. I just getting you started. We're going to switch topics here to the transgender issue. Haven't talked about this in a while. Might as well bring it up today. Liberal Hollywood is going to be having some challenges these days, I'm guessing, because liberal Hollywood, who for a long time has argued the necessity for us to incorporate more and more things in society for transgenders, who make up a small portion of society, they want us to have open arms to accepting everything about them. We've been told in society that you can go ahead and be a man, and if you think you're a woman, well, then you can be a woman. Even though you have the body parts of a man, even though you have the DNA of a man, if you think you're a woman, you can be a woman. You know what that's called? That's called a mental issue. Okay? If you're a man and you think you're a woman, that's happening up in your mind, not in your body. Okay? So we need to address the situations properly, but when we normalize this, as this is something normal, then we stop looking for the reasons or what's causing the problem. But now that I've mentioned that, let me talk to you about how this is going to affect Hollywood. You see, for years, we've been hearing over the course of this year, the last 2 years, all about this gender fluidity that's going on. All about the gender fluidity. People can go back and forth. Well, here we have a gender fluid performer makes Oscar history by qualifying in both male and female best acting categories. A gender fluid performer has made Academy Award history by being eligible for both Best Actor and Best Actress award categories. Kelly Mantle, 40, who was born as a man but identifies as a male or female, was submitted by producers in both gender categories according to the Wrap. Mantle plays a transgender prostitute named Ginger in the comedy Confessions of a Womanizer, starring Andrew Lawrence, C. Thomas Howell, Jillian Rose Reed, and Gary Busey. Okay, there's a picture right there of her. And let's go down here. The film directed by Miguel Ali won the Best Narrative Feature Film and the Best Director at the 214 LA Underground Film Festival and the Best Feature Film at Tupelo Film Festival, Twin Rivers Media Festival, and the High Desert Film Festival in 2014. The movie had its Oscar qualifying run in Los Angeles Wednesday. The Actors Branch of the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences confirmed that Mantle was eligible to take home the statue in either the Best Supporting Actor or Actresses. Mantle has not been nominated in those categories, but could be. All right, and more pictures of her. So, let's see how this turns out. But the way I see it, we've got women in Hollywood who have spent years and years and years in acting school, studying, going into this business to try to have some success. And now, after all of that, now it's quite possible that a man who thinks he's a woman and dresses like a woman while still being a man, having the DNA of man, a man now can be put ahead of women in the category of Best Actress. What does that say for all of those actresses? What is Hollywood saying? Hollywood is saying that a man can be better at being a woman by pretending to be a woman than a woman? Is that what this is saying? Oh, Hollywood, you've got a real problem on your hands here, and you better fix this, because I don't think the women in the world are going to be too happy. I don't think the women in Hollywood are going to be too happy knowing that you're willing to put a man who dresses like a woman ahead of them in priority. See, the world's getting crazy, my friends. The world's getting crazy, and unless we take time to figure it out and fix these problems, they're only going to get worse. All right, let me change gears now, again to another topic here. This one might be a little bit more fun for you. If you are out there and you are traveling the social networks, if you're visiting Reddit, if you're on any of the other forums, you may have run across a character by the name of Pepe and KEK. If you are in _Donald over at Reddit, this is a good place where you're going to see a lot about Pepe and KEK. So I thought, for the fun of it, I'd bring you this article here, The Truth About Pepe the Frog and the Cult of KEK. The real story behind Hillary Clinton's cartoon Nazi frog will blow your mind. I'll cut right to the chase. Pepe the Frog isn't a white nationalist symbol. Pepe the Frog isn't a harmless meme propagated by teenagers on the internet. Pepe the Frog is in fact the modern-day avatar of an ancient Egyptian deity actually resurrected by online image board culture. Does that sound like the most batshit crazy thing you've ever heard? Well, strap in, friendo. We're in for one hell of a ride. The origins of Pepe the Frog. The precise origins of the Pepe the Frog, like all image board memes, obscure and unimportant. All you really need to know is that sometime around 2010, a sad-looking cartoon frog began to trend among posters on 4chan.org and similar underground image boards. Shortly after, the age-old piece of online vernacular used to express laughter, LOL, fell out of favor on these sites. In its place, a new slang term of synonymous meaning rose to common use. KEK, K-E-K. The origins of this trend are much more important. It comes from an odd technicality involving the Korean language and the popular video game World of Warcraft. Keep that in mind for later. And so just like that, two seemingly unrelated elements that would go later to give life to a deity were arranged in piecemeal fashion, but they remained dormant for several years, up until Donald Trump in the 2016 election. By this time, Pepe the Frog had become the unofficial mascot for 4chan's political discussion board, a highly despised corner of the internet fittingly entitled Politically Incorrect. /POL / is a place where the unspoken outsiders of millennial culture gather in mass. Here you'll find the lonely and the depressed, the socially inept, the generational dropouts, and all shades of disenfranchised youth, every one of them united with an unshakable underdog mentality that pervades the forums every kilobyte. To call this place a white nationalist or alt-right message board is categorically incorrect. /POL is, above all else, a place where our society status quo is mercilessly challenged. It's a melting pot for well-meaning freethinkers and misguided madmen alike. It's a place of chaos. So when Donald J. Trump strolled onto the political scene in 2015, it was a match made in heaven. He immediately became Pol's candidate of choice. And it wasn't long before Trump was mated with Pol's beloved mascot in typical image board fashion. And then something very strange began to happen. One last thing you need to understand about image board culture is dubs. Every post in 4chan and similar venues comes with an 8-digit numerical stamp. This number represents the post entry position in the entire posting lineage of the image board. With amount of traffic these sites get, the last couple of digits of this number are essentially a random roll. When a poster gets repeated digits, it's called dubs, trips, quads, or so on. Since a poster can't know their post number until after they've submitted the post, it's common for people to bet the contents of the message on the occurrence of repeating digits. When they never prove successful, a get has been made and the stroke of luck is celebrated. Out of this practice, a strange phenomena began to take place on Pol, discussion threads associated with Trump displaying noticeably frequent gets. It wasn't long before all of these seemingly random elements discussed so far became irreparably tied together with image board culture. Pepe the Frog now is the unofficial mascot. Donald the Trump is the overwhelming candidate of choice. Repeating digit post numbers or gets, and KEK, used as an expression of delight, particularly in response to Trump's trolling of the establishment, as well as reaction to the unlikely gets in general. And a god was born. Here's the coincidence where it starts to get weird, the queer coincidence of KEK. Soon it became all the rage on Pol to hail Trump as nothing less than God's chosen candidate. But which God's chosen candidate exactly? The obvious answer is KEK. Remember how we learned that KEK the mem came from the obscure Korean language automatopoeia, completely independently from Pepe the Frog? Well, it turns out KEK is also and always been an ancient Egyptian deity, a frog-headed one. Quite the coincidence, wouldn't you say? A little, perhaps, you reply. A little indeed, but that's just the very tip of the synchronicity iceberg. That's just where the unfathomable string of coincidence begins and where it ends. We just don't know. Day by day, this is all getting stranger. The second major coincidence can be found when one looks at what KEK stood for among the ancient Egyptian pantheon. Kuk, K-U-K, also spelled Kek or Keku, is the deification of the primordial concept of darkness in ancient Egyptian religion. Like all four dualistic concepts of Ogdad, Kuk's male form was depicted as a frog or as a frog-headed man, and the female form as the snake or the snake-headed woman. As a symbol of darkness, Kuk also represented obscurity and the unknown, and thus chaos. Also, Kuk was seen as which occurred before light, thus was known as the bringer in of light. And who else at this point has been declared the bringer of light into the world by enthusiastic supporters? Well, there we go. It gets even weirder. KEK's hieroglyphic spelling in an ancient Egyptian. It bears an undeniable resemblance to certain something. The statue of KEK. Okay. Says a person using a computer, like say, to post on an image board. So see, we're having something similar to this. Also called Cult of KEK, aka Mem Magic to concrete form. This new digital faith is summed up neatly in this image passed around in all the major image boards of the day. Okay, it gets weirder. Pepe KEK emerges in plain sight September 11th, 2016. Now polls users were quite seriously directly attributing all strokes of luck for the Trump campaign, all strokes of misfortune for the Hillary campaign to their benevolent, frog-headed deity that spoke to them in dubs. That all came to a head September 11, 2016, when three major mind-blowing events transpired within 48 hours of each other. 1. Hillary Clinton fainted or nearly fainted in New York. The overwhelming sentiment of the polls, still reeling from the event, is captured 2 days later in this post. I didn't believe in magic at first. I thought they were all joking. Then Trump won his first primary, and I thought, hey, that's a coincidence. Then he became the candidate, and I thought things were getting weird. Now Hillary's getting sick, and the media is talking about Pepe. It's clear as day your memes are messing with the fabric of reality. Okay, number 2, Hillary Clinton literally declares Pepe the Frog an enemy of the state. Here's a short version. Pepe is the cartoon frog who began his internet life as an innocent meme enjoyed by teenagers and pop stars alike. But in recent months, Pepe's almost entirely co-opted by the white supremacists who call them the alt-right. They've decided to take Pepe by adding swastikas and other symbols of anti-Semitism and white supremacy. What can I or anyone else hope to add here? How bizarre does this reality get? How deep does it go? Or, oh, I see how deep. Number 3, really freaking weird. Pepe's musical anthem is discovered on YouTube. Now get a load of this. While all of this was happening, 1 or 2 anonymous 4chan contributors discovered an old track from the 80s on YouTube. A track stamped all over with a very familiar face. Pepe. That's right, folks. B-side vinyl by performer Pepe, supporting a frog with a magic wand. A frog. And what's Pepe stand for? Point emerging, probably entering. Probably what our sweet repeating digit gets all about? Probability. What is this gist of Kekism on Paul? While he speaks to them through dubs, their ancient Egyptian gods of obscurity and chaos emerges, enters at points of probability. Feel like that's a stretch? Check out what the full-length vocal album artwork is adorned with. Pepe. Alright, so there's more to this here. Well, let's see. We'll go finish up here. So what the hell's going on? It says most likely chaos magic. You see, one of those core tenets of chaos magic practice, the only mainstay really is the creation of magic sigils, also called glyphs, to codify the project one's will into the universe. Basically, you make an image that represents your will. Desire fueled by powerful emotions or altered states in the universe will take care of the rest. When a lot of people pool their united willpower towards a single sigil, it's called the hyper sigil, and it's exponentially more potent. Millions of little people that browse 4chan have embedded the image of Pepe with their hatred for Hillary's alleged corruption and their hope for Trump's victory in November. Whether they did this consciously or not, it's exactly what happened, and so far the hypersignal seems to be working. Hold up, you're seriously telling me magic is real? Absolutely I am. You must understand, magic probably isn't what you think it is. It's not about wand waving or pentagrams or sacrificing babies. Magic is actually much less involved than that. As a matter of fact, you're casting a magic right now. You probably much always are, whether you like it or not. That's because the real magic comes from plain and simple human attention. How you look at reality shapes in the way that they are now only beginning to fully understand. Ironically, the science of quantum physics is rapidly bringing the reality of magic to light. Shayla Day. In my book, You're Imagining Things, I will tell you how it works and why it works in plain spoken English. I'll also explain how you can use your attention to alter your little pocket of reality in extraordinary ways. Right now, you can find the book there. Okay, so what happens next? Well, most likely, KEK will continue to grow in power and continue to oppose Hillary Clinton and the corrupt political establishment. Will the Lord of Light win over the powers that be? We shall find out very soon. Alright, so very interesting. I thought you might find that to be insightful, because more people are seeing the talk about KEK, the talk about Pepe, as they go from the image boards out into the real world. Can you imagine that Hillary Clinton wants us to take her seriously, yet she declares a cartoon character to be a racist symbol? She goes to war against a meme. Can you believe that? And then we're supposed to take this woman seriously. This woman is out of her frickin' mind. Okay? It's too bad after they chucked her into that van like a side of beef. It's too bad she just didn't stay there. Because this woman will just not go away. Just go away already, Hillary. Just go away and don't come back. We've seen enough from you. We've heard enough from you. We don't need to hear from you anymore. Just go away. Just disappear. Okay? We don't want you anymore. You're a disgrace to society and humanity. Okay. So, that's what's going on. That's the nonsense you're going to deal with as you go through the course of this day. You're going to hear about all of these things. You're going to continue to hear about their story they're pushing of the CIA. Even though you heard the stories here, you can follow the links that there's no proof. There's no proof whatsoever. As a matter of fact, there's proof and there's eyewitness testimony of understanding who the leak came from, and it wasn't the Russians. Remember a guy named Seth Rich? Seth Rich was killed. Nothing was stolen from him. He was just killed shortly after. He allegedly released information, and then Julian Assange kept talking about wanting to find out about his murder, and people wondered, well, why Julian was interested? Because the story goes back to say that Seth Rich was the one leaking this information out, not the Russians. So instead of blaming the Russians, instead of taking a chance at starting some international incident by blaming somebody who may have not had anything to do with any of this, maybe we should look at the problem as it is. Hillary Clinton failed because she was arrogant and ignorant, and she expressed hubris. She believed that all she had to do was show up at the polls and she was going to win. She didn't need to go to these places and do rallies. Donald Trump did rallies, but she didn't need to go to Michigan. She didn't need to go to Pennsylvania. She didn't need to go to Wisconsin. And now that she lost all of these, and now that Jill Stein has been denied in all of these places, now Hillary is crawling out of the woodwork to declare the Russians. Again, it's nonsense. So as you go through it today, as you go through and you hear the nonsense, you're going to hear them talk about do-overs. There's no do-overs. There's none of the nonsense. Think of this. Last Super Bowl, the Denver Broncos won. They played the Carolina Panthers. Now the way football works, whoever has the highest score at the end of the game is the winner. However, we could look at the situation and say, you know what, the Carolina Panthers have decided to petition the NFL. They want to change the outcome of the Super Bowl because they realize they actually had more yards. They actually had more yards during the course of the game and believe, because they had more yards, that they should be the winner of the game, as opposed to the team that actually had the most points. You see, that's the same argument that the Democrats are trying to do, saying, oh, Hillary had the popular vote, therefore she should win, even though Donald Trump, by the rules of the game, had an overwhelming amount of wins. If we want to look at the popular vote, he won 30 or 31 states as opposed to her 19 or 20. Okay? There he got the bigger popular vote. If you want to match all of the citizens of America together, and you want to look at the popular vote totals, yes, she has more. Where did that come from? Came from one state, perhaps two states, California and New York. Do we want California deciding for the rest of the country how things happen? I don't think so. Do we want New York dictating how things happen? No, because there's 50 states, and all states should have a say in what goes on. That is why we have the Electoral College, to make sure that each state has proper representation. If you just say, well, we're going to take the popular vote, and you only take the results of California and New York, we'd be in a whole different situation, because we would be electing people that we wouldn't necessarily want, the rest of the country wouldn't want. We would be at the mercy of two states. And it seems to be that all states should have a say, not just two and leave 48 out of it. So, go through the day, hear all the nonsense, but come back and follow the links. You got the stories. There's more out there. This is just the tip of the iceberg, just to show you what's going on. Don't get all rattled by it. We know what they're going to do. Liars lie, cheaters cheat, people that steal, steal. They're going to continue to cry and be big babies about this because that's what they are. They're hypocrites. And Hillary Clinton, despite the fact that she said someone who's doing what she's doing is a danger to democracy, she's still out there doing it because apparently the rules don't apply to the Clintons. Well, in this case, they do apply, and just keep thinking good stuff out there, my friends. Okay? Keep thinking stuff and just keep laughing as she wages her war against Pepe the Frog. All right? Now, what's very important as we go through all of this, there's a lot of things being brought up in each individual, a lot of ideas, a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts. People that were siding with things that were very dark, siding with things that were evil, are finding that their versions of reality aren't matching, and things are coming up from inside that need to be addressed. These are things that need to be healed, and so this article specifically deals with that. To awaken your unlimited healing potential. And this is something we all need to do through this process we're going through. Heal that which needs to be healed. The healing potential of the human being expands far beyond the world's general understandings. Evidence can be found for this throughout all cultures and related spiritual belief systems. Years ago, I was confronted with a serious health crisis that was unresponsive to both conventional and alternative medicine. As a result, I began to research and explore the realms of psychic healing, shamanism, and deep meditation. I discovered fascinating examples of individuals who overcame incurable physical illness and extreme trauma with an open mind and a determined spirit. This inspired me to begin a journey inward through silence and meditation that led to the awakening of a primal healing force which lies dormant within the human being, waiting to be activated. One incredible healing story which involved serious damage to the leg especially caught my attention because the neuromuscular functions in my own leg were severely affected by a condition diagnosed as reflex sympathetic dystrophy. The pain and dysfunction was spreading and had caused one of my calf muscles to become paralyzed. The story reported in Psychology Today and Yoga Journal was about a 21-year-old man named Mitchell May who was told by a team of UCLA surgeons that his leg was unsalvageable and must be amputated. During a head-on collision, May's leg had been broken in 40 places and large chunks of muscle and skin were missing. His leg was deeply affected and his life was at risk, and the doctors insisted that he would never walk on two legs again. May couldn't imagine life without his leg and refused to let surgeons amputate. His mother contacted the parapsychology department at UCLA in a desperate attempt to find some other options and was put in touch with a healer named Jack Gray. Jack Gray was raised in the Jewish mystical tradition known as Kabbalah and used several energy healing, hypnosis, chanting, and prayer to perform countless healings that were being researched at UCLA. He visited May in his hospital room daily for an entire year, performing energy healing on him and teaching him to enter altered states of consciousness through meditation and hypnosis. He taught May to direct energy through his body, to use active visualization and to leave his body consciously and to turn pain signals off with his mind. He also helped May to alter his belief systems that were causing blocks in his healing. He used techniques that drew upon etheric forces to generate matter in the form of new healthy muscle, nerve, and bone tissue. This regeneration of tissue, considered impossible by Western science, was fully documented by X-rays and consulting medical physicians. After 2 years, May was able to walk again with a brace. He became Jack Gray's apprentice, continued to learn and heal, and eventually returned to hiking, dancing, and rock climbing. In an interview for Yoga Journal, May described how his health crisis led him through a spiritual transformation as he explored a realm beyond regular physical perception. We would work for hours on end in expanded states of consciousness. Jack exposed me to a field of energy that will almost burn you up if you don't change. He had to teach me to deal with my fears, my ego games, so I could enter that energy field. All right, we have a lot more to this story here. I'm going to leave that for you to read, but I think at this point you get the gist. Our mind is a very, very powerful tool. It's a very powerful machine. When we tap in to areas of our mind that we aren't normally tapping into, we can provide a tremendous amount of healing to ourselves. Healing is taking place each and every day with us in subtle ways that we may not know about or ways that we do know about. But we can affect this change because every day when we go into the world and respond or react to a situation, some energy, something that we express from ourselves might be coming from a place that needs to be healed. And if that's the case, then once we know what it is that needs to be healed, it gives us an opportunity then to go forth and to heal it. And once we're able to go in and to heal the thing that needs to be healed, it's a game changer because then our life is able to operate differently. We feel that life is not out of control, but we are actually in much more control than we realize because we know that we are equipped with the means to heal any situation or problems in our lives. So as we go through these experiences that we're going through right now here in America and around the world, if we go through these experiences and we just take them at face value as just an experience that's happening, we don't think about any consequences or maybe the results, the personal results, then we just see it as a thing that's happening to us. But if we take the time to explore and understand what's going on and seeing that we can make changes to the way in which we feel and the way we express ourselves through this, we'll find that we can heal parts of ourselves that need to be healed. We'll even find that these experiences in life are happening so that we have an opportunity to heal the parts of ourselves that need to be healed. Everything happens for a reason, my friends. Everything happens for a reason. And if we understand that, then it changes us understanding what's going on. Because maybe what's going on, like in this period of time, I believe all this is going on so we have an opportunity to really see how we can move forward, an opportunity to see our strength in moving past the darkness. It's real evident to see the darkness out there, isn't it? I mean, it's real evident to see all of the negativity that's swelling around Hillary Clinton. It's not too difficult to find the lies and the corruption and the string of murder that has followed her. Why anyone would want to follow that, I don't know, but there's an opportunity in that to understand what part of ourselves that are following that, what part of us is attracted to that, and then heal that. Because all that represents is a sickness, okay? The sickness that we have is why we are gravitating, why people gravitate towards Hillary. It's because the sickness in them is attracted to the sickness in her. Let's heal ourselves so we don't attract ourselves to her sickness. Let's even think good thoughts for Hillary, that the sickness in her can be healed. We don't need her to go any further in society as a political person, but we can wish her well and we could send her healing vibes, and perhaps even she herself can be changed. Perhaps even her. We'll see. But we don't want to be hateful of people. That doesn't do anybody any good. We want to send out good vibes, but we want to make sure we stop the darkness, stop the evil from affecting us, which we can certainly do by putting our foot down. Okay? None of us are victims, my friend. None of us. We all are in much more control than we actually realize. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another breath. And exhale again. And another breath. Hold it. And exhale. And as you breathe in and out, feel your body relaxing. Feel this energy exchange, pulling out the old energy, recycling it back into the universe, and pulling in new, fresh energy. And we do this intake and exhalation of energy all our lives. And let's just take a moment at the miracle, the miraculousness of this experience, that throughout the entire existence, we continue to breathe. We continue to live because this energy cycles through us. Take a moment to think about your heart and how miraculous it is that this heart has been beating day in, day out, from the time you were born throughout your entire life. And as we think of the miracle of this physical reality, we think to that which affects the physical, the spiritual world. And we realize that all things being done in this physical are simply because of our connection to the spiritual, to the place from which we have come. So let's follow this spiritual energy from the physical back and back to its source. And as we do, we find that this flow of energy goes all the way back to the true source, the Mother, Father, God. And we give thanks, Mother, Father, God, for the blessings, the love and the light you share with us. We thank you for blessing our lives with the light of the Christ that shines brightly through each and every one of us. And we pray this day that we have the strength and the courage to remove the distractions and anything that hampers that light from shining bright. We pray that the people of Earth find an opportunity and a moment to heal the pain in their lives. And we pray that all upon the earth at this moment are able to connect in with their higher selves so that we see the bigger picture unfolding before us. So let's let the subconscious mind continue on the journey of experienced life, of feeling the energy exchange that take place moment by moment, and the prayer and the blessing that we share with each and every one in hopes of healing for all. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. All right, my friends, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. The links are available so you can go check out these stories. Remember, they're just going to get you started because you can follow these stories. There's a lot more of them out there. Check my Twitter feed. Check my Facebook page. Subscribe over to the YouTube channel. I do a really good job of staying on top of what's taking place out there and sharing this information at all of these different sources. And if you have information, please let me know. Post it at my page. Send me a Twitter or send me an email, firstcontactradio@yahoo.com. Because you know what, my friends? We're all in this together. And we're all sharing and we're all working with each other because we all want to move forward. Doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. If we move the politics out of things, we just look at life. Everyone wants to move forward. Everyone wants to have a peaceful life. Nobody wants to go out there and be violent. We just get caught up in all of this nonsense and we choose sides and we get emotionally invested in our side winning. And in that process, we go through all of this nonsense. Lying, cheating, stealing to make sure that we win. If we stop that, if we just look at things from the spiritual perspective, we realize we're all winners. And that, my friends, is the most important part. We're all winners because God flows through each and every one of us and allows us to be bigger than we even realize that we are. We just have to realize that God power is available to us. That God power is us. We are drops and bits and pieces of this God force. So let's act accordingly. Let's represent this God force properly by going into the world and being examples of love light and positivity. That's it for today. I'll be back with more news and information. Until then, I love you. Keep loving each other, and I will talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.